in business now.
Let's go.
We all in?
That's money.
The gang's all here.
That's
Hey.
straight. That's so cash. That requires a Drake emoji. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
Banana meat. Jesus.
That's Tyler.
Because we both made our names with something to do with freshly baked, unbeknownst to us. And then he just like switched it to something even better, honestly. Banana meat 420, that's just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I think it's one of the ones in the running for our new cultivar we're gonna drop here.
Are you guys gonna put the meat on there? Banana meat? Oh,
I hope so.
that'll sell for sure. Holy shit, imagine. You get some sweetness and some meat. Oh yeah. That sounds so good. It's my favorite.
Well, it's 29 degrees there. It's 11 degrees here, so.
Yeah, I wish I was in 29-degree weather right now. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm in a sweater and I'm comfortable, so that I don't want that to be the reality, but here we are.
Yeah.
Anyways, we can get started now that we're all in business. So, well, first, we can just start off by, how did you get into the industry? What was like the reason why you decided to get into cannabis?
Okay, yeah. Just like a passion for plants and a little bit with the medical benefits as well. I've seen it help a lot of people in my family. It's been a part of my life for a while, well before it was, an industry, a legal industry in Canada. So, I've grown up around it. I've seen a lot of people benefit from it. I've seen a lot of people also be, punished for it as well. So it's amazing. Like, we were just reflecting there on 420, just trying to imagine a time like 10 years ago when I thought that, if I thought I'd be in a place like this now. And it's mind blowing to think about that and just like see where we are now and what we're doing. And so I just kind of got into it when the pandemic started, kind of broke into the recreational industry. And it was a really kind of scary time, and everybody was like surrounded by death. And I think it was really important for me and my mental health at the time to surround myself with something that was living. And, it's always nice to be around plants that are growing and people that are loving what they're doing. So kind of how I ended up in the legal industry here.
Cool. We'll pass it up.
So I actually transitioned from EMS into the cannabis industry. I was involved in a workplace accident 6 years ago now. And then I started utilizing cannabis after that. So I started utilizing it primarily for like the pain. And then I noticed that I had some mental health concerns. So I started utilizing it for that as well. And then it just kind of, the transition from the focus and all the knowledge that I was putting into the medical field just transitioned right over into cannabis, because it was very similar, very easy for me to understand, because my brain just works really well with the way the body works, how medications can interact with the body. So learning how cannabis can interact with the body was just an additional piece that I was adding to the puzzle. And from there, I just started becoming an advocate right away, talking around amongst a smaller circle. The legal industry came on, and I was the type of person that used online reviews and feedback from other people on my purchase decisions. And there was no one doing that yet. So I just kind of started doing that, and it's expanded to the vast amount of content that I'm creating now under Red the Leaf and working within the industry.
Amazing. Cool. I mean, who doesn't love weed, The industry is really fun. It's really nice to see it constantly grow every day, especially when you're like in it, seeing like every day so different it's really cool to see it grow and like be a part of the growth.
Yeah, the pace of change is incredible in this industry right now. And, I've been following Mr. Riley Lilly for a little while there, kind of watch your LinkedIn posts and notice you have a couple new podcasts coming out. And even just your channel and your reviews has grown a lot. And it's really cool to kind of follow along with that. So it's cool to see you here, Trevor.
No, I appreciate that a lot. And I originally started doing the content because I thought that it was the consumers that were going to need it, but it seems like it's the industry professionals who are going after it, and I've adapted the content so it's more directed towards that industry professional, the bud tenders, the reps, the growers, people who don't receive that direct feedback. Those are almost the ones that I'm talking to.
Amazing. To bounce off of that, is there like a specific question that you get a lot being in this industry, like that people ask you on a regular basis?
The most common question I get asked would be how to get into the industry and how to move and branch out from where you're currently in. So a lot of times it's either how do I get in to be like a quality bud tender? And then the next question is, well, how do I move from a quality bud tender into like a rep or a grow tech or somebody along those sides within the industry that's a little bit deeper? Who do I need to talk to? Who's the connections that I should have to create those kind of job opportunities for me? Those really seem to be the questions I've been getting the last 9 months to a year, I would say.
Nice. Marley, do you have any questions that you get?
I would say kind of the same. People often ask like how I got started in cannabis and how to get started themselves. And I think it's just being a combination of like hungry, humble, and smart. And you can go great places with that little combo there. So that would be probably one of the top questions for me, is just how I got started, how to get in.
Cool. It's also nice to see how many people want to get into the industry, starting like when you think about 4 years ago, how like little people were kind of involved, to now like it's like a very like hungry and driven place. Like everybody's like, how do I start here? How do I get into it? What do I need to know? It's really cool to see like that branch out.
Well,
Yeah,
go ahead.
We're good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're like early on when we just started to, legalization happened. It was just being on that QCW early and having that kind of foot in the door that way. I wasn't really sure if I was gonna go kind of the retail route or like the cultivation route. So just having those, educating yourself around it and having those little certifications and before it even started was kind of a foot in for me. And I think it's some relationships that you build as well.
Well, and for me, a good example of that was the first Collectors Cup I attended in Edmonton back last October. There was a vast amount of consumers there that were in the process of becoming bud tenders there. But we also had, I believe there's like 4 ladies, 3 to 4 older ladies that one was a nurse, one had no exposure to cannabis at all. And there's a couple of other that worked in the healthcare profession. I don't know whether they were aides or just supporting roles for people on long-term disability, stuff along those lines. But they attended just so that they could get exposure to cannabis from people who are actually interested and want to educate passionately. That, to me, changed my total mindset behind any event. And it's like, we should be having anybody and everybody attend these conferences. They may not be beneficial, but even if they could just come listen to the conversations in the smoke pit, that would be huge for this industry.
I agree.
And sure. that expanding mentality is awesome to see.
100%. I mean, it's funny. My parents used to be like very against cannabis, and now they're like growing it at home, and they ask me questions all the time, and like they're like progressively telling all their friends about it. They're like, "Oh, let me give you a little seedling plant," and like they're starting to talk to their like older friends. It's so cool to see that like the older generation is also adapting to it, and like they, even if they don't like partake in it, they're still like in support of it. It's really nice to see.
Spread that love. Spread that love.
cannabis. What is your favorite strain right now? What do you love about cannabis? Do you have a favorite strain? I mean, sometimes that's a really hard question, but
Gosh, there's so many good ones out there. You know, I just love how you know, cannabis can positively impact people's lives, and it's amazing to be a part of it right now. Favorite strain, you know, our Gasberries has been such a pleasure to smoke for me. But right now, I'm smoking on the Craft Dinner, and it's good. And it's really nice. I have some notes in there that kind of remind me almost this, like a little bit of the flavor profile of a Gasberries. Slaps a little harder, but I am really enjoying the Craft Dinner right now. And I'm really excited to taste some of the stuff that we're hunting right now that I see from our Instagram post might be dropping soon. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm smoking on right now, what I'm enjoying. I wouldn't say like all-time favorite strain on anything. There's just so much variety out there, and you know it changes almost every week. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll build off of that kind of mentality. I don't really have a favorite strain that just sits there and at the top, but more so kind of a favorite genetic for each experience, like some for that pain relief, some for the mental relief, stuff along those lines. But similar to like the growers, I've got my own garden downstairs and I've got some stuff that I'm hunting right now. So that would be probably the stuff that I'm most excited for. I've got a GMO sour dub crossed with the Wilson that I'm really looking forward to. I'm hoping I can find like some papaya and banana terps coming off of that one. So that's probably the one I'm most excited for right now. And then I've got a banjo crossed with a cotton candy. So I'm hoping I can get some orange and some sugar off of that. So for me, those would be the two that I'm most excited for. But again, they're the ones growing in the garden.
amazing.
Damn.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Although, like, the banana's not my thing. But other than that,
Well, the Wilson is a papaya crossed with a banana OG that's then crossed with a Tropicana cookies. So I'm just hoping I can get that starchy and kind of tacky sweetness from that papaya and banana cross. And then the Trop cookies can do whatever it wants with that sweet kind of sour tack too.
nice. Yeah, it sounds really.
You say you're not into banana now, but wait until we drop banana meat there in July, August.
We'll see. Okay. So this is mostly a question for Marley because it is about the mother room. What goes into preparing for your day?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's an amazing place to be, and it's really like the heart of the operation. So, you know, a lot goes into it. It's you know, just ensuring that, you know, our mothers are happy and healthy, and that's going to in turn lead to the success of you know, the entire process and anything that we use as clones to further populate rooms. So you know, like a day in the life is basically, you know, like wake up, head to the facility. First thing we do is kind of meet as a team, me and my guys. Shout out to Case, Andre, and Ethan, kind of our crew there that oversees our mother rooms. So we do a walkthrough immediately, check on everybody, see if there's anything, you know, any issues, kind of get a gauge on the real feel of the room, check environmentals, check plants, pot weights, all that all the irrigation is functioning and working properly. We've got 2 rooms that kind of oversee. So there's one that houses all of our commercial cultivars that we're actively cloning in any given kind of quarter. And then we have another room that houses, you know, a lot of our R&D, our research and development stuff and our pheno hunt stuff. So we hit both those rooms up, do walkthroughs. Afterwards, you know, we you know, meet and prioritize what we're going to do for the day. That's usually planned out in advance. So we got a pretty tight schedule of, you know, cloning, transplanting, pruning, up potting. There's trellising, training, pinching. Like there's so much that goes into it, and we have all of these different crops, different cultivars and different crops at different stages of their life cycle. So it's just coordinating everything to work kind of synergistically and making sure everything gets done. A lot of our day is cleaning as well, and making sure our IPM is on point as well. It's a lot easier to just be preventative than to react to something. So our pest management is on point, and it's something that we take very seriously. Once a week, we'll usually try to get out and, see the fruits of our labor and check out all of our prop room, check out our veg rooms, check out all of our flower rooms, anything that's currently in flower, and just try to take notes on that and see how they're progressing along their life cycle as well. But that's pretty much a day in the life.
So you would say that like pretty much every day has like a routine that's pretty like close to the same, or is it like every day's different journey?
Yeah, great question. It's definitely varies. Like Sunday we'll be doing transplants into Hugo blocks or transplants into a bigger pot. Someday we'll be kind of more focused on cloning. Sometimes we have a blend of tasks as well. So it is kind of different every day, and there's a lot to do every day. So there's never a dull moment for sure.
Amazing. That's good. Do you have a favorite part of your day, or like a favorite part of your job that you would be like, if I could do this every time?
Oh, that's a good question. It's amazing to just be nearing the end of the pheno hunt and making the final decisions on these strains or these cultivars and finally picking one, and then seeing your first round of mothers that are going to make your future clones, seeing that canopy and all of these little clippings that are ready for the taking, and then finally seeing that go into the propagation stage and start populating other rooms. That's really a favorite. It's got like an aspect of excitement for the new, but also uncertainty because you have to work out this new cultivar and what it likes and what it dislikes, but that's one of the most exciting parts of it. So I would say that's a really great part of it for me.
It sounds fun. I mean, I don't have a green thumb, but it sounds like it would be a really exciting thing to like see the new up and coming things. So a question for everybody now is, what's something you want to see change within this industry? Is there anything in particular that you want to see change? Maybe the first thing you want to see change, or?
I would love to see events being more inclusive, like to what we were talking about earlier, kind of really targeting everyone that would like to learn about cannabis rather than just people who work in it. I truly feel that education in all manners of the plant are going to benefit not only us who work in the industry, but those that would like to enter later on and to the future of the industry. The more that people are educated, the better products we can put out. And that all kind of starts, I think, with just community. And so like, I would love it if, everyone who is doing events, at least here in Ontario, would be more open to just opening it up for everyone, kind of just like, let's everyone come in, everyone learn, everyone let's burn, let's smoke some nice weed and cook up whatever it is you please and just like have a good time. Bring it back to how simple cannabis was, just chilling with some friends, eating some food and bumping some tracks. And, if you want to talk about cannabis, then you can. If you just want to sit back on a patch of grass and get high as hell, then you can. I just wish it was a little bit more about cannabis. That's me.
Well, I would build off of that because I would say education would be my biggest forefront. Just our goalpost right now for that baseline of education that the government expects and what we actually need are very separated. I'd like to see that close in a little bit more. I'd like to see just a more streamlined education that's not product focused in the sense of here's this company, here's an example of, because that's, you see a lot of just singular. I'd like to see a more broad approach. Instead of going sativa indica hybrid, well, let's talk terpenes, let's talk effects, let's change the way we're asking the questions. Let's teach the bud tenders to ask better questions or to ask the same question different ways to get the answer that they need to be able to move on to that next step. That kind of education, and building off of what he's saying with those events, having that education, having those events that allows us to grow our own is huge. So that the bud tenders can come in, then they can move into the grow or the repping and then move up into the higher positions, because that's ultimately the best thing, is us growing our own next generation of cannabis producers and consumers.
I agree.
Yeah, great question. There's a couple things just from like a growing standpoint that I think would be beneficial. Like one of the big ones is just kind of sustainability. A lot of cool kind of regenerative farming that's going on, and I think it's a lot. There's a lot of interest there for me. And then when it comes down to education as well, and just learning, and having our people kind of talking the same language, and I think it helps when you develop a bit of a baseline as well. I think there's a lot of crazy stuff going on with testing in the industry right now. There's some COAs out there that are kind of like, hard to look at or hard to believe. And, if you level the playing field a little bit and maybe standardize some testing, I think that's something that we kind of need. And, not just looking at the THC numbers. It's such a, it's just such a small thing in the total scheme of things. And, like Trevor said, just, talking more about terps and how those terps interact with each other, and, just education in general, and getting that information out there. It comes from, collecting good data and being able to present that data as well. And, the longer we do this, the more we're going to get, and the more education will be available out there. I think those are all really good ones, and that's where I see it from.
Yeah, education is huge. I mean, I've been in a lot of stores. I worked in a store, and like people come in with questions that like they don't even necessarily always know their own question. So it's about like trying to frame it in a way where it's like it's not overwhelming to them, because I've had like a lot of like older people come in, and like it's easy to get overwhelmed by so much information. But also if we just have people who are like confident in their answers, I think that goes a long way. It also breaks down that negative stigma that we know is still kind of there. When I talk to the older generation and they're very receptive to it, it creates this positive thing where when they go outside, they're not like scoffing at somebody smoking a joint outside anymore. They're like, there's so much more to it than just like a joint. There's a whole world to cannabis that I think is really cool to like explain to people. And I think that if the education part of it was a lot bigger and more forward in the industry, it could take us a lot of places that would benefit us for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
and just having that education to create the interconnection between people within the industry so that the conversations can continue to happen. And then you can build off the conversations, and it just becomes this building block, this Lego system that becomes bigger and more interwound and more interwebbed, and it just becomes this interconnected ecosystem that can survive on its own and affect the change that we need it to affect. And we're getting there, we are, but it's still in growth, and we can still do better with what we're focusing on.
For sure. Well, one that's a little lighter of a question, unless you have something you can say.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of, follow up on Trevor there. And I think like that's why it's so important to have these kind of vehicles for conversations like you have with your podcast. And, we should definitely have more of that. You guys, with your reels, on our Instagram. I think that's so cool. And it's just like having those conversations and not being afraid to go into those uncomfortable ones, you know, and there's always something positive on the other side of something that may be uncomfortable. So having those kind of champions that'll go there and talk about those things is only going to benefit us. And, you know, yeah, just happy to have people like you guys around and, you know, bringing up these conversations. And, you know, Red of the Leaf podcast, you might be the Rogan of weed. That might be controversial, but, you know, let's get there.
Oh, I appreciate it. And that's the whole idea behind it, is to just provide an opportunity for conversation to happen, right? It's not my platform to go off. Whenever I introduce it to anybody, I'm like, this is your soapbox. I'm here to learn about you because I'm just genuinely interested. I'm honestly I want to learn as much as I can about this industry. I look at that podcast as a selfish opportunity for me to learn about as much as I possibly can. I make it less selfish because I share it with everyone else. That's what takes the guilt away. That is purely what takes my guilt away from having those conversations and taking people's time out of their day. So that's just my idea behind it, and that's what I want the industry to be, a little bit more selfish with having those conversations. And you don't need to record it. Just share some of the ideas and topics that came up, and we will improve and benefit from it.
Amazing. Well, a little bit later of a question, just to kind of bounce around from topic to topic. What do you listen to while you're working, or what do you listen to while you're smoking weed? What kind of music are you into, or do you like to watch TV instead, or podcasts, or what's your thing?
Yeah, I could take that one away. We have such a variety of music tastes within our group and in our rooms. So we listen to everything. Been really on like a kind of like a yacht rock kick right now in our room. So been listening to a lot of like oldies stuff, you know. Yeah, just in the rooms, something upbeat depending on the mood. But usually it's something pretty upbeat, and just a variety. And then on my own time, I do listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to, you know, a lot of tunes as well, but it's mostly podcasts and audiobooks. I really enjoy kind of like feeding my brain more information while I'm just kind of like on autopilot. So it's kind of my vibe.
Nice. Do you have a favorite podcast?
I'm not gonna lie, I listen to a lot of Rogan. Yeah, I dig Rogan. I'm big on like, it might be weird, but I'm big on like kind of like true crime and murder. I'll fall asleep to like murder countries. So those are kind of my big ones. Hey, easy, good to see you.
Yeah, there's something peaceful about falling asleep to murder. I don't know, it's weird. I like it.
Hey, I can fall asleep to World War II documentaries, so it just put it on mass scale. But when I'm in the garden or doing any sort of work, I'm very similar. If I'm doing like editing, long form editing, and I want like kind of meaningless conversations, I will run anime and stuff like that in the background. But if I want something that's a little bit more mentally engaging, like when I'm doing trim seshing or I'm going downstairs and cleaning up the garden or doing any work down there, music, Jon Bellion's probably the artist that I play the most often.
Jon Bellion
throughout.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
I just like the variety that he does. Yeah. Like you listen to an album and it is a complete story and there's a totally different tone throughout. And if you go and you look at the music he's produced, he's involved in a lot of like the major hits in the industry too. Like very, very talented musician. And then I also have podcast, audiobooks, stuff along those lines as well that I listen to while I'm either working out or in the garden as well.
Yeah, I just listen to
podcasts. No, sorry.
What's that?
You ever like re-listen to some. I guess you edit them, so or do you edit?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
It might be
I do everything myself for all my content.
very cool.
Yeah, I'll go back. There's been a couple I've gone back and re-listened to and have watched again just because of the detail that we've got into.
We'll definitely have to have a talk about that then, because I've been trying to do a little bit of the content, but like you're just the goat on that for the cannabis industry so far, at least.
And for me, it's just become that I started doing something and then somebody gives me an idea and I start looking to see if somebody else is doing it. And I'm like, nobody else is doing it. Okay,
Right,
well,
just
if I
run with
give
it.
if I give a platform for somebody, and it's not, I want to monopolize the industry and be the only one doing it. It's, I want to be an example across the board that everybody can do it. And my idea is if we get another 100 reviewers that are doing the same style of content that I'm doing, I'm winning because I've got another 100 pieces of resources that I can go, 100 people that I can use as a resource when I'm going through to try and figure out what's going on. Because out of the 100, if 70 of them have reviewed one product and it's kind of controversial, guess which product I'm going to go and pick up? That one that's kind of controversial because it's the one that needs to be reviewed and gone over because there's so many different experiences from it. If 70% of that group goes, this is fantastic, me hopping on and smoking and saying it's fantastic isn't going to do that but any extra benefit. But I go and I try the one that's kind of and I go, it's actually not bad. This is why people aren't going to like it. This is why people are going to like it. It gives it kind of a breath of fresh air. And that's why I want to build a community of people that are creating content that are just a wave that are supporting each other and doing what we're doing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with that 100%.
I'm all about growing the industry and growing the community as much as we can. I see no reason why everyone can't have a piece of the pie.
Well, exactly. It's a fairly large pie and it's free growable.
Well, exactly. You run out of one pie, you just build another one. Build and bake another one, you go on from there.
Exactly.
To hop on to that, is there anything that like you would tell people who want to get into this industry? Is there any advice you have for people trying to get into this industry, whether it's on the growing side or on, more the bud tender side? Do you have any recommendation?
The biggest thing is being honest and your genuine self. Like when you make a mistake and you're frustrated, tell them you made a mistake and this frustrated the hell out of me. This is why I need to try and figure it out, because anybody that's in the industry that wants to help you grow, they've experienced that frustration in the last 5 years. There's been more than enough experience for us to experience that frustration, whether it's been getting pinched from a job and having to move to another company out of the blue, big takeovers, like the amount of movement that's happened in this industry, we've all experienced it. So if you're nervous about something, if you're just unsure, ask. Because the amount of people who openly connect and share that with you is huge. And that'd be number one. And two, constantly educate yourself. And it doesn't have to be cannabis pure education, just self-development education. And people see that growth, they're going to give you opportunities left, right, and center. Like growing on yourself is the best thing you can do within this industry. And it's crazy how much self-improvement is what focus and drives this industry to improve.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that as well. I said it before, but I'd say it again, just being like hungry, about what you're doing and what you want to do, and growing the industry, and just that humbleness as well. You got to leave your ego at the door. There's a lot of people that, are coming in or have been in, around us that, think they've seen everything and know it all, but it's such industry where you can just learn something new every day. There's so much to learn and there's so much that we don't know. So just having that humbleness and having some a growth mindset and being kind of smart about things and yeah, there's places for everyone in this growing industry, and you don't have to be necessarily a consumer or a previous grower or from the legacy market to get into these types of things or these types of roles. It's just really just being honest and humble and going after what you want, and keeping that growth mindset, and just believing that you can do what you want to do.
100%.
Okay, on to the next question. What's something you're looking forward to in the next year? Is there anything that is coming up, whether regardless if it's an event or just something that you have planned?
Basically a plug. Plug in whatever you want.
I can kick it off if no one's gonna get rocking. I'm looking forward to Grow Up at the end of the month. I'm gonna be hanging out there. I will have a booth, so I'll be able to connect with anybody and everyone that wants to come around. I'm looking forward to that. And just over the year, building up the community as it's been crazy the last 6 months. I can't imagine what the next 12 are going to be. The opportunities that are starting to come within this industry with sampling and a bunch of other amendments that are hopefully coming with the Cannabis Act currently in the works. Huge industry change is going to happen in the next 12 months, and I'm very much excited and looking forward to seeing it transition the way that we want it to, into that more craft and consumer focus. But if we don't make our voices heard, that's what we want, it's going to be difficult. So I see a lot of work to go alongside that.
Yeah, there's never an absence of hard work to put into this. Personally, I'm looking forward to a couple big projects that we have going on right now at Ojin. We're coming to the end of a pheno hunt. We've landed on some pretty solid options here. So again, that like really cool point where you're starting to populate rooms with this new stuff, and then seeing that come to fruition and drop in the rec market. We're also going to start a new one in the next few weeks here, so lots of excitement around that as well. And yeah, just generally seeing where this industry takes us. It's so young. There's so much change and so much opportunity in these early stages of our industry, and we're just at the start of it. And I think there's a lot of exciting things to come down the road, and a lot of change that's going to happen as well. I think there's a bright future for us, and it's just so grateful and happy to be part of this ride.
For sure. I mean, it's definitely exciting to see the changes that have happened and are going to happen. I mean, you see it every day. You get like an alert on your phone of the biggest news that's happening in this industry, and some of it's more shocking than others, but it's exciting to see that within like the next year how much change is going to happen. Coming on 5 years of legalization, it's really exciting.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what the next 6 months are gonna pertain, because the amendments the Cannabis Act's currently being talked and discussed over. So there could be a couple of big adjustments that could really give this industry a big boost. So let's hope that the changes are where we're going and what we want to head towards.
100%. I agree. Hopefully some packaging changes as well. Being able to put more information on the containers for people. I think when you see that, like the information right in your face when you're buying it, it kind of helps push that conversation as well. That's something that the more you see it, the more exciting it becomes. More people are starting to understand terpenes, and just because that number is kind of like in their face, and so they want to ask about it. I think that's one of the coolest parts. So do you have a favorite terpene? Speaking of terpenes, is there one terpene that you would choose above all else?
I don't know. Sometimes when I see COA results, I like to look for things that have like an osamine kind of content in it. It's just kind of earthy kind of sweetness to it. I think it complements other terps quite well. So when we're hunting and we're kind of like looking at those COAs after, I definitely like to look for that. There's a couple cultivars that have I think our Peach Chauffeur has a little bit in it there. It's got like a 0.2 of it. So I really like the flavor profile that gives off, complemented with the other terps. So it's sometimes often, overlooked, but it's an interesting one for me.
I've actually started to really get into the black hash. So the hashinanine, the hash specific terpene, is one that I'm starting to find a real interest in trying to dive into and hunt down, because I'm finding that the nerve pain relief that it gives me just along my spinal column and my actual my lower back is huge, and that's where I get the majority of my pain. So that's the terp that I'm kind of on the hunt for, to see if I can find some high quality, high grade hash with a good percentage in it.
Nice.
Anybody else want to say their favorite terpene?
I like some Farnesene, honestly. It's pretty funky, pretty like earthy, like some other terps, but Farnesene just kind of gives it that extra little, not haze, but like an OG kind of feel to it, and it's very classic in my mind, and it's not very, very found in a lot of strains, so you can only really get it from the hidden, the good stuff.
Well, it gives you kind of that fresh veggie kind of taste on your mouth, right? Like humid veg. I always like that flavor. It always gets me excited when I get that kind of tickle at the tip of your tongue, where it's just that, oh, ocean breeze. That's nice.
Yeah, it's going to be a true body high line.
Yeah. Amazing. I mean, I like limonene. It's found in like everything. I just really, really like the sweet, like citrusy notes in it, and it makes me feel really happy. So, I mean, I don't want to feel anything else other than happy. So, you can't really complain with that. I know Santi's favorite is also that. So.
It is. People just, people are like, oh man, it's everywhere. I don't want to see it anymore. Holy shit. But it's like, it smells incredible and it gives you great effects. I can't. But if I were to like choose a second, it'd probably be linalool. Limonene and linalool, those are my two. Those are the ones I look for. Those are the ones that hug me when I go to bed. And I think I'm going to, keep that forever.
Well, we're coming to the end. Do you have anything you want to say, just in general? Is there anything you want to talk about? Anything about anything you want to put out there to tell the world?
Stop the limonene hate, everyone, please. Stop the limonene hate. It's amazing. It's an OP terpene. Like, let's go. Limonene gang all day, every day. That's all I can say.
Just go ahead.
Oh no, I was just laughing.
Okay, we love limonene. If you'd like some more limonene, maybe we'll look for a little bit of that in the next round here. We're just about to pop seeds, so you let me know what terp profiles you'd like to look for, and we'll find something for you.
I want a mint strain. A mint strain.
Yeah, a little minty, a little lemony. What about a nice banana meat? I think we got to go with it now. I don't know if there's any other name that we could use on that. So
Banana meatloaf.
Meatloaf? Yeah,
yeah, that's a good one.
Banana meatloaf. Holy shit.
Banana meatloaf.
420. You gotta add the 420 as well.
Yeah.
Hey, someone in the chat agrees. More limonene. Let's go.
Cowbell.
Let's go.
Yeah, just happy to be here, and thanks so much for setting this up today. And just grateful to be a part of such a great team, and you guys do great work out there in Ontario. And it's an absolute pleasure getting to chat with Trevor and Mr. Coates Good to see these faces, and just super grateful to be a part of this.
Amazing.
Same.
Yeah, thank you guys for putting this on. It was a blast sitting and visiting with you all. And anytime I get the opportunity to talk cannabis, I'm excited because it's what I'm passionate about. I've got the Peach Chauffeur One Hitter Weed review going live tomorrow at 4:20 Mountain Standard Time. So anybody who wants to check that out, it's on my YouTube. Did really well. It'll be definitely one of the better scoring ones that I've had recently. And then Grow Up, I'll be there. I'll have a full booth. So if you see me roaming around or sitting at the judges table during the Flower the Hash judging, definitely come by and say hi. I will have lots of goodies there with Red Leaf all over it. And then I am about 99% confirmed to be flying out for Lyft. So those you out in the east, I should be able to see you right afterwards too. No booth there, but I'll be roaming around with a little bit of a cruise. So we'll have some goodies and stuff out there. So I look forward to meeting up with you all. And if you have any flower or anything that you want me to take a sniff and let you know what I think, feel free, bring it up and we'll chat.
Amazing. I'll be there with a mini mic walking around, so maybe you'll get a little interview. You never know.
Perfect.
But yeah, thank you all so much for doing this. It's always really fun to talk about cannabis, what we want to see, the fun things that we do every day, the music that we listen to, all that good stuff. So thank you so much for being here. If you ever want to join again, we do this every month, so feel free to come back and do it again. We would love to have you and talk more about weed, because who doesn't want to talk about weed, you know?
The passion.
Passion. It's all about that in this industry. The passion is what pushes us forward and gets other people to love it just as much. So keep on smoking good weed, keep the smiles on your face, enjoy the 29-degree weather that isn't here. Yeah. Turn on the AC. Feel good.
Going.
Who's this?
And it's always better to smoke a joint in the warm summer weather. So go enjoy smoking in this nice weather.
I'm just about to roll one up with my Ojin papers.
Hey. Let's get it.
I'm gonna smoke regardless.
Hey. The Ojin Day. Amazing. Well, have a great rest of your day, everybody. Thank you so much again for joining in. And look forward to talking to you soon.
Likewise.